Welcome back, beautiful and amazing human beings, to the WeAreChange show where, we break down all the propaganda, psychological warfare, disinformation being used against you. Where, the powers that be put you in a low vibrational state in order to control you. What's been happening throughout human history, but yet we're convinced it's not happening now, and anyone exposing it is deemed a conspiracy theorist. But regardless, we're going to talk about that, the latest news, and even some positive news at the end of this broadcast. So, yeah, let's just get right into it. And of course, this week, everyone's talking about the volatile markets all around, not just with the stock market, but with Bitcoin, starting off 2018 in a very unstable, unpredictable economic market. Now, I don't know why people are surprised by this, because if you look at the U.S. economic system with being run by the quasi-private Federal Reserve banking system, and also the stock market, I think it's pretty clear that all those systems are Ponzi schemes. They're economically rigged against the people. There's a lot of market manipulation that the banksters, of course, get a slap on the wrist for when they're caught doing, when they're defrauding and stealing millions, if not billions, away from the American people. But if you miss a car payment, there's going to be a tow truck outside of your house in a matter of a few days. Just simply put it, the system is skewed, and it's being run by a government that can't even account for $800 million, loses trillions of dollars with their accounting errors, and is in $21 trillion of debt. And to be honest with you, I don't think it's a matter of if, but really when poop hits the fan when it comes to the U.S. economy. Family-friendly show, I say poop. Deal with it, especially with a system that is being artificially kept up and manipulated, and historically has a dip every 7 years, like we saw in 2008 and in 2001, and continuing before that. But now the dip did not occur when it was supposed to in around 2015 and 2016, which is making a lot of financial gurus I know particularly worried that this correction or crash is going to be a lot worse than those before it that happen usually every 7 years. But whether it's going to happen now or sometime later, no one really knows because of how fraudulent this entire system really is. Where even just moments ago, the stock market fell more than Bitcoin. And Bitcoin has had its worst start to the year ever in 2018, with prices plunging all the way down to 7,000, which, by the way, we've been covering on our Saturday crypto show that we do with Josh of World Alternative Media, which I definitely recommend you check out and tune in every Saturday to see. Which, by the way, we're letting our viewers decide the name of our Saturday show on our Steam It post. And of course, more information will be in the description below. And now, of course, this should not be a surprise for everyone, with mainstream media companies, of course, declaring that Bitcoin is dead for, I think this is like the 1,000th time that they did this. But with the historic drop on Wall Street that happened yesterday, of course, the mainstream media is saying that, no, this is a correction. It doesn't really matter. You shouldn't worry. And that quote, this is a healthy thing that is happening right now. When in reality, it's all based on lies and not taking any responsibility. Like Donald Trump, who most likely won't claim credit for this downfall, like he usually likes to take credit for the stock market going up. And of course, he's not the first U.S. president to take credit for the stock market going up. But in reality, it's not really in his hands, so it's kind of really dumb for him to take credit for anyway. But in other Trump hand-related news, Donald Trump, the president of the United States, just came out with a statement saying that the people who failed to clap for him during his State of the Union when he was talking about U.S. achievements, that was, quote, un-American and bordering on treason. And I don't know about you. I know a lot of people are on the Trump train, especially in the supposed alternative media, but this kind of shows his insecurity and inferiority complexes to the entire world when people do this. And again, I do think there's more important issues in the world than people clapping for you or not, if you are the leader of the supposed free world. But like, how your allies are fighting each other in the Middle East right now, as Turkey is ramping up its invasion of the Syrian countryside to attack a well-known U.S. ally, the Kurds. And as of just a few moments ago, they have arrested over 449 people for criticizing their invasion on social media. Now, Iran, Turkey, and Russia have actually worked together to create a de-escalation zone. Even in the middle of that, we saw a Turkish soldier that was killed in a motor attack. The president of Turkey is even demanding the U.S. leave a town in Syria, which he is claiming will be returned to its true owners, meaning, of course, Turkey, while openly criticizing the United States and its endless operations in Afghanistan and in Iraq, while telling the world that the U.S. military presence in Syria right now is an opportunistic one with calculations against Turkey, Iran, and even maybe Russia, especially now since ISIS has been largely defeated. Again, very tough words from a NATO state that is almost on the brink of bombing U.S. soldiers that are stationed with Kurds inside of Syria right now. Now, of course, the United States said that they're not going to leave that particular area, but other than that, they haven't been really supportive, with the Kurds now looking for Bashar al-Assad, the president of Syria, to garner more support against the Turks, who of course want to take the territory away from the Syrian government, which the Kurds of course occupy. And yeah, to me, I think that story is a little bit more important than if people clap for the president during his State of the Union. But let me know if you think I'm wrong in the comment section below. Now, in a completely unrelated story that is almost on the same level of insanity, we are getting news that actually came out a few days ago, but is being highlighted now, that the Las Vegas killer's prostitute that actually disappeared before his deadly shooting spree at the Mandalay Bay has now finally resurfaced and is now cooperating with the FBI and is saying that the Las Vegas shooter told her that he was a government experiment and that the government was listening to everything he was saying and doing with the ability to hack into his brain and take over him. And to be honest with you, with how coy and unprofessional and how many times the US government has changed their official story about what really happened in Las Vegas, this could actually be plausible. It sounds nuts, but who else would you believe? Someone who continues to change their story tied to government agencies that have previously worked on hacking the human brain, working on projects like MKUltra, and officially has, attempted to control people's thoughts and their ever-changing official narrative? Or do you start to question things? And I think the answer is very simple here. And now in other news that yet again vindicates the supposed conspiracy theorists that the mainstream media discredits and attacks all the time for asking critical questions, we are hearing from Terry Crews, the Hollywood actor, who is now claiming that he was threatened to drop his sexual harassment lawsuit against a person who abused him before. Terry Crews also previously called out Russell Simmons for asking him to do the same thing and drop charges against the person who sexually assaulted him, and also previously detailed how he was afraid for his life and how an accident may happen to him because of him pressing charges against very powerful sexual abusers in Hollywood. And in related news to that subject, and this really shouldn't be a surprise here with how corrupt Hollywood is, especially with all the details we learned from the Harvey Weinstein scandal and what we're learning every day, just like a few moments ago, where audio was released of Quentin Tarantino defending pedophile filmmaker Roman Polanski and detailing how a 13-year-old girl, one of his victims, wanted to, quote, have it. Which, yet again shows the deprived, horrible nature of, Hollywood. And now, while independent media has been critical to exposing Hollywood predators, pedophiles, exposing the actual wars that are happening on this planet, and other important issues and contexts that the mainstream media will never touch, like the latest updates on the Las Vegas shooting, those important independent news organizations like Anti-Media, the Mint Press, the Corbett Report, Free Thought Project, Collective Evolution, and I can keep going on and on and on, including ourselves, we are being dramatically hit as we're speaking right now, not only by new Facebook algorithms, but by being blocked by Google News, constantly being threatened to have our ads cut off, of course suppressing our reach, flagging our content, just outright cutting off our ads like we've seen to so many of our videos on this YouTube platform, and of course taking away our visibility and abilities to do things that we used to be able to do before, like live stream, which now we can't do because CNN News put a false copyright claim against this channel. Now, to be honest with you, this does suck and hurts our ability to be a successful independent news organization and our ability to even operate. But it's still not as bad as in other countries like in Vietnam, where an activist was sent to jail for 14 years for live streaming a protest against a U.S. steel company that discharged toxins into the environment that killed a massive amount of fish and other sea life in Vietnam, or in Egypt, where opposition pages are just deleted right away and reported to the authorities, or in Pakistan, if you speak out against the government's religion there, Facebook will not only censor you, but report you to the government that will sentence you to death for criticizing Islam. So at least that's not happening to us as independent media here in the United States, but some would say that this kind of underhanded censorship, this kind of shadow banning, and eliminating independent organizations who stray away from the status quo from the newsfeed, many people say that this is way more effective of eliminating dissent than by purely just going after it like we're seeing in other countries. Now, as this is happening, I would say there's two other critical issues here that are also very important to pay attention to. One is the dumbassification of social media, with them promoting arguments and fighting between the left and right and just idiocracy, like the Jake Pauls and other car crashes that do gain attention from people who naturally want to see car crashes, and at the same time giving an upper hand to the establishment media, not only giving them premium advertisement, premium viewership, letting them say, show, do, whatever the hell they want, as literally former CIA directors are joining their news networks, like John Brennan going to NBC News, and an FBI special agent that worked for Comey now working for CNN. With all these factors happening, I would say that, yeah, we're pretty screwed. So, of course, if you get a chance, sign up on our email list. We don't even send out emails yet. I don't even know how, but it'll just be a backup in the inevitable days to come where we're totally gone. We're still here if you selectively go out and find us, but I think that soon won't even be the case. So, yeah, that's happening. Oh, yeah, good news. Yeah, I forgot about that. Just yesterday, a British judge ruled that Lori Love, a British hacker that was actually arrested in October 2013 for hacking the United States government computers and was facing 99 years in jail in the United States, won't be extradited to the United States and will actually regain his freedom. Also, Tesla is planning to build the world's largest virtual power plant with the government of South Australia that will use solar panels to decentralize networks of energy in their country. This just as SpaceX, another company connected to Elon Musk, just sent the most powerful rocket into outer space in a test flight just moments ago, with, of course, Elon Musk's personal Tesla car strapped to the front of this rocket. And last but not least, also, we are getting news from Mark Zuckerberg that people are spending 50 million fewer hours on Facebook a day, which is really incredible. Great, amazing news, especially if you learn about the psychological, destructive societal effects that Facebook has on your psychology and human civilization. So yeah, we're totally getting eliminated and censored, but at least people are spending less time on Facebook, which is great. But hey there, I'm still optimistic. Because ultimately, your thoughts create your own reality, and you are the imagination of yourself. And that's why, in some magical, amazing way, with all the adversities and problems and hurdles and government agents and intimidation and harassments that I have faced, I am still here today. And that is mainly because of your viewership, your loyalty, you guys being here with me. And that's why I love you guys. Thank you again so much for watching. Stay tuned for more.